good afternoon, good evening, good morning, where you are in the universe. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk, and I have an amazing guest. Matter of fact, this is not the first time we've spoken. Teresa Howell, and she is an amazing author, and she wrote the book series called The Church Life. And it's riveting, it's funny, and it's real. And especially for our community of people, if you read that book, you know really that you know somebody that's actually in this, if it's not you. So she's here in the studio, and we're going to talk about the book. And then she has another book that's outside that series, which I'm quite sure is going to be just as amazing as the ones that she has. And so you know what I like to do. I like to bring practical people, real talk people, live people, funny people, exciting people on Can We Talk, because that's how we learn. Because I learn too. So we're a community, and we want this community to be tight because we want to have some place to go when we need to vent or just kind of take a chill pill or get a drink at 8 o'clock on Fridays and just enjoy. So without further ado, I have Miss Teresa Howell. And how are you, Miss Teresa?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I want to thank you for accepting the invitation to come on the show. Well, Can We Talk? And I told a little bit about the books, the series, but tell our listening audience, our dynamics of ladies are like 35 to 65. And this book, it knocks at the door of everybody. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about it.
Okay, that Church Life, the series started, I never intentionally wanted to write more than one book, but it started off talking about a pastor's daughter who was struggling with domestic violence. He had a pathway for her to be the next pastor of the church because they were generational preachers.
Right.
But she was stuck in a time warp with this man. And she couldn't get out. So she had these two friends that tried to help her. She ended up meeting a new guy. The old boyfriend gets jealous. And then there's a very good ending that people don't expect to happen in the church. So that's part one of the series. And because I left a cliffhanger, everybody got upset because they were like, you can't just leave us hanging like this. There has to be more to this. So I wrote a part two, and I wasn't expecting to write a part two. So it was very difficult because I didn't know where to go from book one. I did get some help from some amazing seasonal authors who are well known in the industry of writing Christian fiction. And they kind of helped me guide the storyline. And basically, honestly, they didn't like where I was going with the story. They were like, no, you don't think you should. And I was like, I know my readers. I know where I need to go with this story.
Absolutely.
So book two, like, soared past book one. And I'm like, okay, I must be onto something. So book two gets the extension of, book two gives you the extension of what happens, who did what, who is pinned for the crime. That's all I can say is crime. And it goes into deeper part three, telling about one of the friends' lives, her life, and what she is now struggling. So it kind of takes off from the pastor's daughter, who really ends up kind of losing her mind throughout the series. And it really focuses on her friend and why her friend is the way she is and how they got to where they are.
Wow. Now, Teresa, does this actually happen? Universe. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk, and I have an amazing guest. Matter of fact, this is not the first time we've spoken. Teresa Howell, and she is an amazing author, and she wrote the book series called The Church Life. And it's riveting, it's funny, and it's real. And especially for our community of people, if you read that book, you know really that you know somebody that's actually in this, if it's not you. So she's here in the studio, and we're going to talk about the book. And then she has another book that's outside that series, which I'm quite sure is going to be just as amazing as the ones that she has. And so you know what I like to do. I like to bring practical people, real talk people, live people, funny people, exciting people on Can We Talk, because that's how we learn. Because I learn too. So we're a community, and we want this community to be tight because we want to have some place to go when we need to vent or just kind of take a chill pill or get a drink at 8 o'clock on Fridays and just enjoy. So without further ado, I have Miss Teresa Howell. And how are you, Miss Teresa?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I want to thank you for accepting the invitation to come on the show. With Can We Talk? And I told a little bit about the books, the series, but tell our listening audience, our dynamics of ladies are like 35 to 65. And this book, it knocks at the door of everybody. So let's talk a little bit about that. Tell us about it.
Okay, that Church Life, the series started, I never intentionally wanted to write more than one book, but it started off talking about a pastor's daughter who was struggling with domestic violence. He had a pathway for her to be the next pastor of the church because they were generational preachers.
Right.
But she was stuck in a time warp with this man. And she couldn't get out. So she had these two friends that tried to help her. She ended up meeting a new guy. The old boyfriend gets jealous, and then there's a very good ending that people don't expect to happen in the church. So, so that's part one of the series, and because I left the cliffhanger, everybody got upset because they were like, "You can't just leave us hanging like this. There has to be more to this." So I wrote a part two. And I wasn't expecting to write a part two, so it was very difficult because I didn't know where to go from book one. I did get some help from some amazing seasonal authors who are well known in the industry of writing Christian fiction, and they kind of helped me guide the storyline. And basically, honestly, they didn't like where I was going with the story. They were like, "No, you don't think you should?" And I was like, "I know my readers. I know where I need to go with this story."
Absolutely.
Book two, like, soared past book one, and I'm like, "Okay, I must be onto something here." So book two gets the extension of what happens, who did what, who is pinned for the crime. That's all I can say is crime. And it goes into deeper part three, telling about one of the friends' lives, her life, and what she is now struggling. So it kind of takes off from the pastor's daughter, who really ends up kind of losing her mind throughout the series. And it really focuses on her friend and why her friend is the way she is and how they got to where they are.
Wow. Now, Teresa, does this actually happen?
Oh, yeah. I should have wrote based on true story, because it's church folks for real. Yeah.
Yes, all the way. This is exactly, I mean, when you came on the radio show, just listening to it, it is actually mimics our community of women in the church with all kinds of issues, all kinds of problems. And if you don't know it, you would think we the highest saint of the land. And it's kind of like, to thy own self be true, but you get in a web. Relationships, men, women, needs that need to be met, but then you want to follow Christ or follow the church. And you fall into that area, gray area, and it's like the women that you're talking about, it's like they never could get out of it. They were just spiraling down.
Right. Yeah. One thing, I'm being in the church all my life. One thing I can say is that we get complacent.
Yes.
And we start following, just we do it out of habit, and it's no longer fulfilling.
Absolutely.
And with this particular main character, she was just doing it out of habit because that's what her grandmother did. That's what her dad did. It was an ancestry type of deal.
Right.
And it was just common to follow the way of the
right.
But in her generation, you know, she couldn't handle it like her grandmother and her great grandmother. She was handling it totally differently. She had anxiety. She needed counseling.
Wow.
And, you know, that's something that we don't talk about in the church.
Absolutely.
You know, everything is about prayer and slapping you with some oil.
Right.
Some people need therapeutic
Absolutely.
stuff.
Absolutely.
And we forget that God created doctors.
Right.
And God created medication.
Absolutely.
And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, the stereotype for African Americans, and it goes all the way back to slavery, we just don't want to seek help because we're scared that, you know, that the doctor's going to tell us something wrong, or because he's, you know, Caucasian, they out to get him, or, you know. Right. So it's just a generational curse that African Americans deal with. Absolutely. And our children are suffering.
True. That's true. And I think too, we don't want to admit that we have a problem in any particular area. You know, we want to, and we're good at that in the church, you know, and I've been in the church as well all my life, but we're good at just making people think we're okay. And, oh, it's not me, but your life starts to unravel and then you don't know what to do. And you're right. We'll go to pray, but we've gotten so deep down that when we weren't praying, then now all of a sudden we want to pray and we want to try to make it right. But we're so far down into the mud of that stuff, it's hard to get out. Now, I know women like self-help, but you know, just like you were saying in your book, women go to each other for self-help. And I find that what I do as a empowerment speaker is that you can't go to your friends for help. I mean, they're okay to pat you on the back, but you need to get with somebody that's going to actually dig deep into your issues. And so if you want a plan or a goal, that somebody that doesn't even know you.
Exactly. Or somebody that don't even care about your best interests at heart. They, on the outside, they seem like a friend, but you know, it's a lot of jealous folks around, you know.
Yeah.
You can only imagine, you know, this spoiled preacher's kid who has gotten everything she wanted out of life. And, you know, one of her friends, not so much. She grew up poor and, you know, having issues. You don't know what is going on behind your back. And, you know, so it's best to seek professional help to somebody that, you know, they don't know your situation and they're not there to judge.
Right.
And she eventually learned to do that in book 3. And the reason why I had to make her go see somebody, because I want African Americans to go see somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You wanted to bring about a resolution so they'll know you just don't keep living this way, that you make a change in your life.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Right. And so it was three books, a 3-book series. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Okay. And then from the 3-book series, then you went into a different mode here. And you got another book. Tell us about that one.
I have a book that I'm trying, and it's just grabbing hold of me. It's Delayed but Not Denied.
Yeah.
And basically the premise of this dedicated and faithful wife who her and her husband, since they were in their early 20s, started off in the church. You know, they were deep into it, but he ends up having an affair with the pastor's wife. And so it goes into how she's feeling and how she doesn't want to expose them, because you know, it becomes this big thing. She doesn't want to leave her church.
Right.
She doesn't want to expose her husband.
Right.
And you know, she's scared that if she says something about the pastor's wife, they'll be shunned in this little town.
Right. Right.
So she's delaying the process of basically putting them on blast.
Wow. Wow.
So that thus comes the title, Delayed but Not Denied. And also, you know, she puts some things to the side to make her marriage work. Okay. So, you know, that's just a tidbit, but I haven't figured out if somebody gonna die, if something.
Yeah, that right there is, and actually, I didn't experience that, but I went to a church and that happened. Where the pastor and his wife, this woman came in and they were slipping around. The pastor was slipping around with her, and they end up the wife ended up divorcing the pastor, but she stayed at the church. And the girlfriend married the pastor, and she became the. And then this was real life. It was probably about maybe 20 years ago, and it was the biggest thing. But they didn't have a problem with it. And of course, I left the church, but I got angry because your book is this lady was denied because she wouldn't leave the church, and she actually died. She stayed in the choir.
Oh, wow.
She kept doing everything, but she died. And I was really angry with that because I don't know what held her there. And as that woman flowered around, and they called her the first lady, and you kind of wonder who were you really friends, because people did leave the church, but unfortunately, what the pastor did, about 4 or 5 deacons, they divorced their wives and got girlfriends. So it all starts at the head,
Yeah.
And this is a true story, and that kind of backed me up a lot. Made me kind of, a step down as a minister and all that kind of stuff, because I was like, this is unbelievable what's going on here. But I've heard it happen in other churches as well, and it wasn't just that one, but the pervasiveness of all of that is just kind of blows your mind. But it all stands down with women. What are we doing that, whether we're in the church, in the sorrow clubs, or we're in the job, what are we doing in our relationships that cause us to, our lives to become so discombobulated like that?
Right. It all boils down to how you love yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people would rather have their ex-husband still in, or instead of humiliating him or whatever. With this book, with this next book, I wanted to, from a woman's perspective, not so much like, because you always got these pastor books that the pastor's cheating, but no, this is the first lady. And this, I know of several situations where, and I got to be careful what I say, because
absolutely, I got you. I know where you're going. I get them too. I understand.
People that I really know.
Yeah, I get them too. And people do think that it's never the woman, but I've had some first ladies that was tough, and things have happened, and he's trying to deal with it. So women are just as, I don't know what you want to call them, but they creep too.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I've seen some stories where, I'll give you an example. There was one situation where there was a lady that was an adjutant of a female preacher.
Okay.
And she went to her, she confided, told her female preacher everything. And the female preacher turned around, took her man, married her man.
Oh my goodness.
And didn't have no problems with it.
Yeah, of course not.
And you destroyed 2 families.
Yeah.
And, and then when, at the end of this story, there was a big, I gotta be careful what I say.
Right.
there was a battle about some stuff when it came to property and this and that, and it was just amazing. You don't see no wrong in what you did, like you. So I've seen that happen several times. I've seen females who their husbands are like, "Oh, come on, let's go to this church."
Yeah.
They start going to that church. Yeah. They don't even realize the reason why he want to go to that church
is
because, he flirting with first lady.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know they good about coming to you, giving those holy hugs and those holy kisses. And you know on Sunday when you leave out, it's sister so and so, and they want to kiss you everywhere on your face. But the hypocrisy of all of that, and not all of them are like that, but something you said about it reminds me. My grandmother would always tell my aunts, "You don't tell other women about your man." Where do we get this from? That you talk about what he do, you talk about your bed habits and all that kind of stuff, and how good he is to you, and all these things. And she writing it down. She got it. And the moment she get an opportunity, she flies right in. If there ever becomes like a disconnect or something, or you doing this and doing that, she pops up at the house when you're not there. She calls his cell phone by accident, and before you know it, here we go. This is where the best friend thing comes in.
Exactly. And now she knows everything about him. You done told her everything. You done told her everything. So now she really know how to hook him, because she know his favorite food, where he like to go, because you running your mouth.
Because you running your mouth and you telling all your business. If you tell anything, you don't talk about your man. Because I said in a minute, that's off limits. You don't need to know nothing about my husband at all, about me and my husband. That's just privacy that you keep to yourself. But men don't care when they run into those issues, unfortunately. Not all of them, but some. But for women to have a nurturing hearted spirit, how could you do that to another woman? How could you even do that to your friend? Or how could you do it to yourself, actually?
Right. Yeah, I can tell you one thing about my husband. If a real pretty woman start coming to the church, he don't even look in that direction. He don't want no problems. He don't want no problems, because I can act out some of these characters now.
You done got him trained down. He's like, you don't even look that way.
Brother, don't make me be on Snap.
Look, okay, we ain't gonna have those problems.
Public appearance on Snap.
Because when they come into church, girl, the women are looking at him and the men are looking at him, and it's kind of like, okay, who gonna talk to her? Because she knows. Some of those women know they come to the church. Some people come for the wrong reasons. They come looking for somebody in the church.
They do. They do.
And that right there, you ain't coming to get. That's when you get complacent and you figure, I done been to all the clubs, so now I'll go to the church. So now that kind of makes you not that much difference. And I always say it's not that much difference from the club to the church, because they go to one on Sunday morning because they just left the club on Saturday night. And then the things that they wear to the church, Teresa.
Oh, you ain't got to tell me. I've been in church all my life. You ain't got to tell me. And I'm telling you, soon as Hot Tamale coming in with that little short skirt with that split all the way up her tail, I look at my husband, I look at her. Don't even look in that direction, bro. Don't even do it. Don't even do it, because I'm not trying to be on WRAL tonight.
But how do they sit up in the front, Teresa? It used to be, they used to have the scarves, and they put the scarves over their legs. Do they even do that anymore? Do they put the scarf over their legs?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. And when the mothers are trying to teach them that, they get offended. I ain't putting that on my leg. I ain't wearing that long skirt. She trying to make me old.
No.
They get offended.
No. It's about respect. At the end of the day, it's about respect. Respect yourself, and even respect your faith of where you worship too. That's a big deal. But your books are true to life. You have the fictional persons in there, but it is so on point. It is so true to life. It is so real, and then somebody is able to get something out of it, because at the end of the day, it's either you or somebody that's in the book, one or the other.
Right. Book 2, it was more like it's been called a dramedy, because I tried to add comedy.
Yeah.
But because Olivia is off the chain.
Yeah.
But book 3, I did see some of the comedy to get back to the serious topics of domestic violence, child molestation, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's done its run. It was number in the top 20 for like over a year. It's just now like dropping to like 25, 30, in these last couple of days. But it has been, the series has been formed into a play. We do have a script. We are putting on a performance November 10th here in Durham, North Carolina. And I have people flying in from, my are flying in from different states to come and see this play. They have already got their people packages, and they're not playing. They want to see these characters come to life. So
wow, and I was going to ask you, that's amazing, and congratulations on that. That is amazing, and Thank you. It just gives so much credence to where we are. I'm hoping that we can take something like this and use it for our benefit, and not just accept it for entertainment, but change the way you are and the things that you do. Right. And especially for women, there's so much, books and plays and self-help for women, and you kind of wonder, are we getting it actually? Are we,
right.
Are we going to ever get it? Because that feeling of that manship, womanship is so strong that sometimes we forsake ourselves. Right. Just for that reason. And, right. I try to tell young girls, you got a whole lot of life for a man. That he will come. But there's so many other things you can do. And then when you get him, you're going to probably want to get rid of him fast as you get him, depending on the one that you choose. So it's just kind of a up and down kind of thing. But, what you're doing is amazing. You got your books and your series, and your second book coming out. You're going into a play this year in November. And those are some amazing things to look forward to as you keep going.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited.
You should be. So tell us, Teresa, how can everybody stay connected with you? I know I got you on my Facebook. I'm always checking what you're doing next all the time. So how can the women out there, because your books are practical and they're easy to read and they're easy to follow. So how can ladies and everybody, how can we just stay connected with you?
Okay. My website, teresabhowell.com. I'm on all social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The name is Author Teresa B.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Teresa, I am glad, because I know your schedule is really busy, that you took the time to come in and sit with me for a few minutes. And when that book finishes, I'm going to have you come back again. And right before the play, I want you to come back again. So we want to really kind of push what you're doing. And I know you'll be all over social media, but I want to be able to let people know they need to get to North Carolina, and so that they can see the play. And I'm quite sure that's going to be a success as well as what you're doing. So I thank you so much, my dear, for coming in and having a conversation for me. Can we?
Thank you for having me.
Look forward to it again, Teresa.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have an amazing week.
All right, you too.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. All right,
Bye.
there we go, Miss Teresa B. Man, if you haven't seen those books, actually, you want to get one, read it online, or just pick one up. And I think you can do an ebook. It's an ebook. You can go to Amazon and get them as well. I picked up a couple of them, and it's amazing. It's funny. It's true to life. It kind of talks about just where we are. Man, 50 years ago, that would not have been the case. But this is where we are. This is, wow, this is where we are. And all of it is true to form. So I would hope that we take these books and these plays and things of that nature, and we not just let it entertain us, but to let it teach us something. So that was Miss Teresa B Howell, and she's the author of The Church Life. And that was my guest for the first half hour of the show. But you know what? We're not done yet. I have another amazing guest that's going to be coming up for the second hour. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we're going to be right back with you. This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk? And I am so glad that you have decided to come into my space with me today and us share some fun, some laughter, some real talk, some practicality. We live in this world. And let me say this. We are not just going to talk about relationships, or we're not just going to talk about authors and things of that nature. I'm looking for women of substance, women who are doing some things within their own personal lives. Women that you probably never heard of, but you know what? They are doing some things and they're making some things happen. And what we need to do, and what I want us to do, is be able to kind of glean in with those particular women to see how they made it to where they are. Because truly, they've gone through some things as well, but they made it over. See, you're not strong until you've made it over, and that's when your strength shows, because you need the strength to get over. You don't need strength to pay a bill that's past due. You don't need the strength to make sure you fix rice and beans because your family has nothing. You don't need strength for that. You need the strength is when you're trying to get over the daggone thing. That's when we need the strength. And when you've gotten over it, you can stand up and with your shoulders back and be grateful and proud of where you have accomplished and where you've landed. So ladies, this is not just a year. This is the time to stand up in your own heels. This is a time for you to be a better person, not just work to be a better mother, a better wife. That is good. That's going to come. You don't need anything to do that. You're a nurturer, but to be a better woman and a better person for you as you continue to move past the journey of life, that those things will work in your behalf. So again, we'll see you on the second half of Can We Talk? And this is Myra McKnight. And see you in a minute. Thank you.
Get at me for beats, y'all.